the mayor elections in New York that just happened last week. Well, this week, Zohran Mamdani, who got elected. So at only 34 years of age, Mamdani became New York City's youngest and first Muslim mayor, defeating Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa. A progressive backed by grassroots donors, he promises free public transit, rent freezes, and a $30 minimum wage, which is a lot higher than what it is right now. Why is his election considered historic?
So I'm going to show it, and I apologize in advance. So I didn't show it to you. I didn't know. I didn't let you know that I was going to do this. But audience can see the picture Ethan is sharing. So, like, tell me who would you vote for? These are your three options. Okay. If you didn't know anything about them, one looks like a freak. The other one is 12 sexual misconduct with the employees. And the other one is a young person. So this was the options that's given to the New Yorkers. So I think the Republicans already give up in New York. So, and I see that similar thing in Delaware because I wasn't able to get like maybe one or two Republicans who came to the show. I want them to come to the show, and then we can actually like part of it is when I'm already on a Democrat Party side. It's not sometimes fun to have discussions. So because I want to kind of challenge them, so then I'm not able to challenge them if I'm on the same side. So with the Republicans, I'm hoping that I would have more like a dynamic kind of conversation. And now they don't even respond to the email that we send. Sarah McBride just got a message from me. I think her team got the message on Monday, and we set up the meeting for that live session on Thursday. So Lisa Rochester, she's the same way. So Chris Coons takes 5 minutes to get back to me. And if you look at my donation records, I haven't given any money to Chris Coons for the last 12 years. I was a big supporter in the beginning, but even though I don't have any active donations or like recent donations, he still comes back to me in 10 minutes. Republicans are nowhere to be seen. And that's kind of, I'm going to give you some numbers with what we are going to go through with this. It's not, like I see that effort is not there. So this, this thing is, I don't know if it's historical. To me, at least, it's not. If you ask anyone else, they may have a different opinion. So this guy is a project. He works with the Soros Foundation. He's supported by them. But the funny thing is, there's a great promotional campaign happened, and then he's there. So, but no, I don't see this as a big historical election because this was some Democrats was gonna win that. If he wasn't there, that Cuomo guy, the former governor with 12 victims, he was gonna win. So, or you put this beautiful United Medical mug, this was gonna win. Doesn't matter. So it's as long as it's Democrat was gonna win. So, so why would it be historical?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And he also did make some remarks about, going completely against what President Trump is saying, especially when it comes to issues like immigration and stuff too. He said New York was built by immigrants and it will be protecting its immigrants today. And you're an immigrant, I'm an immigrant at this country.
I don't have any connection. I don't feel I'm connected in any way to this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I was just coming to the challenges that he will face immediately. Because he has all these controversial topics that the president of the country does not agree with publicly, and it's pretty obvious too. So what challenges do you think he will be facing?
So you asked me a question, but I'm going to ask you a question in return. So when was the last time you were in New York?
It's when I probably came back from Turkey last time. So
okay.
month
So
ago?
I used to own a place in New York until 2016. And after that, when my nephews visited me, we stayed at Marmara Hotel on 32nd Street, I believe. It's the Park Avenue and 32nd Street. So they were young, and when we were walking on 34th Street, which is one of the major ones, major cross streets. I may have mentioned this maybe before, but I just want people to kind of picture this. So we got some smoothie. So we were thinking I was going to play tennis, and then we were going to go somewhere else from there. So just touristic sightseeing. So we couldn't even breathe because it was so stinky. The smell was so bad that I just I wanted to throw up. Like it was so bad. So and we didn't finish those drinks. And it got worse than that in time. This was maybe maybe right before pandemic, but the other thing is I used to and this may be 2019, right before pandemic, when I went there with my puppy buddy. He's from here, so he's not used to a lot of these animals being so close to, like, in New York, like even the squirrels, they come really close to you and they get stuff from you, but not in Wilmington, so they will run away from you because they're not used to us. These rats, like this big, they're as big as a cat, like they're everywhere. And then Buddy didn't know what was happening, and then he went after some, and then there was like hundreds of. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not lying about this. I have no reason to lie about this. Hundreds of them. They were just like running everywhere, every direction. So, and then I started doing something recently just to kind of understand what New York City is and the situation that New York looks so beautiful from a distance. But as soon as you start walking, then you see hundreds of homeless people sleeping on the road, like on like sidewalks. I took several pictures just so that because people don't believe these things, they think that we are exaggerating. We are not. So New York is being mismanaged by Democrats for years. Now, when someone is coming and trying to actually give these promises that he's not able to deliver, of course he's going to have so many difficulties, and he's going to immediately face so many obstacles. This is financials, sanity, the housing shortage, and he's just a mayor. So that's why I'm saying that it's a project. He is a mayor, so he doesn't have any uh, responsibilities nationwide or internationally. He's just with zero experience mayor, and then he's not coming from the street. He's coming from a very wealthy family, like almost like Luigi Mangione. Like when he's coming from a billionaire family, and he's trying to represent people without insurance, but his family runs a nursing home, makes millions. So this is a similar situation. This guy is a great project, and he's going to have a lot of difficulties, and we are going to see them in time.
And some critics are also focusing on his identity. Do you think that matters?
That's like this is what I'm not understanding. Of course, I do understand, but what I don't really agree with, why do I care about someone's religion? So, and this guy is like, not every Christian is same, not every Muslim is same, not every Hindu is same. So I don't care if he's Muslim or not, or I don't care if he's Christian or not. We are looking for the qualified person. But when they keep saying that they are X, that tells me that they are trying to communicate with those who are not at the same level that I am, so that they can actually convince those people to support this individual. So if you ask a Sunni Muslim, this guy is not Muslim. I mean, you know the backgrounds, and like Sunni Muslim would take any Christian over a Shia Muslim at any given day. The differences is so big. So when you just label this person as Muslim because that may have some negative impact, this is bad for both sides. What Democrats maybe in this case, or what his campaign is doing. Oh, I'm this. I'm like and he's so many different things. By the way, I mean he's Muslim. He's from South Asia. He's from Africa. He's from. Like, how can you be all those? Like, you were born and raised in Turkey, and after that you lived here, right? So you are not South Asian. So definitely you are not. You probably visited, but you're not. I mean, you can just be everything. So where's your home is who you are. When the identity is labeled so like vague, then I know that there's a problem. So, I don't want to hear someone's religion. I don't want to hear someone's backgrounds. I don't want to hear someone's sexual identity. One of the reasons you would remember this, and because you follow these sessions very closely, Sarah McBride, I worked with her. I'm maybe one of her biggest supporters. We never used the transgender issue as an agenda item. And she would say, I'm not here to talk about that. How many times she said that? Because when you are here, you are going to serve people. You are not going to serve X group or Y group. You are going to serve the society. And that's why I'm not really interested in someone's identity. As long as they are the qualified person, that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I did kind of want to go back on was you did touch on his privileged background, saying that he's coming from a wealthy family. Do you think that weakens his affordability message?
Well, okay, so let me try to answer this in a different way. So, Ethan, I think we can turn this thing off. I don't want to complain about the cold, but I am actually cold. All right, thank you. So since this is a live event, so people know that we are in a studio and don't have a lot of people. There's Ethan as a producer and everything. So let's go back to your question. So, well, he did actually put his message out there, and then people bought his message. So let me give you some numbers. In 2021, total registered voters in this election for New York, it was 4.9 million. And 2025, it went up to 5.1 million. So it's about 192,000 more people. And I'm hoping you didn't actually check the numbers. I mean, knowing you probably did, but let's play this. What do you think the turnout rate was for this election?
Especially in New York, I would probably say less than 50%.
Less than 50%. Do you think it's more than 40%?
I'm going to go with like 42%.
All right, so it was 39.9%. So let me also ask you this. Any guess for 2021?
It was probably even less because of COVID, because a lot of the people left the city.
And
probably 30%.
It was 23%. So he was able to bring almost 630,000 more people to vote. But this is also what this is telling you is something else. So what this is telling you is in the United States, you can focus on 40% of the population and become something. You don't need the 100%. Now in Turkey, you cannot do that. There's an 89% turnout, but this is a 39% turnout. He's elected, and that is like the greatest number. When I heard the greatest turnout, like without checking the numbers, I thought he was going to be like 75%. No, it's like 39%. So our governor got the primary with 22%.
turnout.
turnout. 22% turnout, he got the primaries. So 78% of the people, Democrats, didn't go and vote. So that's what I would tell you. So now let's tie this to your question. So he got a lot of people out there and voted, right? So that means his message, his campaign was efficient. Now, one of the things I'm gonna probably just go outside of your questions on this one. One of the things that I want to kind of remind people, this is why I keep saying social media, we have to have accountability and we have to have ownership of that. And you need to have only one out can have Instagram account, Twitter account, and tied into your social security. And the businesses can have only one with tied into their tax ID. Right now, when you have enough money, you can actually have this humongous group of people just promoting you all over the social media. So, did you know who this guy was in May? But we knew who he was even before the election results because he was running this really heavily promoted, social media promoted campaign. That's kind of like the danger of social media. So, and then that's why, going back to this picture, that's why I showed you this picture because social media sees this picture. Social media sees this and then say, hey, well, we didn't do this test with Ethan. Ethan, who would you vote for? So, right? I mean, this is your option, and it's like when you put this out there, and this is not special pictures. This is I got it from the campaign, like from the official website. So it's not like they made him better looking and then others bad, like because this guy actually is not as old as he looks here, but this is the picture that he gave them, and this guy is a sexual predator, so just stay away from him. But it's a really bad picture too. He won. I mean, he won because he got the best social media team out there. So you also have the leadership roles in the party, in the Democratic Party in Delaware. So you were the majority leader.
I was,
in
yeah, yes.
2019-20
yes.
timeframe.
Yes.
What have you learned about the coalition building and passing legislations in today's kind of somewhat polarized environment?
Well, you should
I'm always
never.
being careful with not upsetting Trump. So I guess if you're hearing that,
No worries, no worries. I think. Well, I think the first thing is that when you are elected, you are elected by the majority. So usually it falls to whatever party you're representing. But after you're elected, your job is to represent your whole district. And so, I don't know if it's a Democrat or a Republican calling me. My job is to make sure that I offer them whatever services that they need, or maybe it's that I need to hear why a piece of legislation is good or maybe not good, pertaining to what their opinion is.
Sure.
More importantly, coming from the business world, spending more than 25 years in the business world, whether it was a healthcare company from startup to a Fortune 500 company, there's always compromise. And I know that sometimes that sounds like a dirty word. It's not a dirty word.
It's not.
Because sometimes it's not the whole thing of what you're looking for, but it's the compromise to get there. And so that takes a lot of conversation. Running a task force is a great example of that. When I first came in, I was not a huge fan of task forces, but I have to tell you today, absolutely, it is one of the great things that you can do because you're gathering different opinions together at the table. You also, I say to people, look, we're going to do this in 5-6 meetings. So it gives a timeline. So
Right.
the expectation is that we're going to meet that timeline. And by meeting that timeline means that we're going to come up with some really good ideas, but it's going to be a give and take across the board for all of us in order to make sure that we can get there. So I think that when you're asking me how my time in leadership to my time in business to what I do today, it's really about making sure that we're all seated at the table. We're having these conversations, and sometimes they're, it could be tough. Sometimes it is, but I always say to people, the great thing about Delaware is that you're going to see me at the Lowe's. You're going to see me at the gym. You're going to see me with my hair washed in a ponytail, with makeup on, without makeup on, because I am.
But you look always beautiful, so you don't need
so
any
kind.
makeup.
You're so kind. But I'm living in my district, right? So, and I'm raising my family in my district. So, you're going to, again, from volleyball to wrestling to whatever is moving us in that particular day as, a family, that's what we're doing.
One of the things that I admire you guys doing the most is those events that you participate on the weekends.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit lazier on the weekends than my normal, and then every time I see you guys doing it a little bit jealous. I'm like, "Oh, I wish I could do that too." Being able to get up, taking the time from your family, and doing that because you know that this is important for people that you represent. And I see that with Sarah and other people as well. But there's something going on Sunday morning. I'm so difficult to get up in the morning on Sundays. So, but then I see you guys already finishing some event. That's really nice.
Absolutely. Like tonight, I have a Halloween party because a constituent's having it. I tell people all the time, don't invite me because I'm coming. And so, that's like, hey, Billy, we're going to a Halloween party tonight. And he says, well, what are we dressing up as? I can't tell you what we're dressing up as just yet. But that's what we're doing tonight. Last Sunday night, there were a whole host of us legislators that showed up for Diwali because we wanted to celebrate the new year, and there was a big festivity taking place, and so we all wanted to be there. You're right. It's not a sacrifice because I think when you choose to do this job is 24/7. And so you can get a call at midnight, you can get a call at 6 a.m., you can be invited to a family picnic. There's a whole host of things that we're doing, but you were embedded in your community.
Absolutely.
And that's what I was picked for.
So again, working on education, workforce, and the labor issues, including reducing waiting period for people with insurance benefits for new hires. Those are a lot of things that you have done, and Delaware tries to strengthen its workforce and prepare for future industries. What policies, levers do you see as most effective, and which ones are advancing better?
Yeah, I think we have to talk about healthcare. We have to talk about the fact that we need more doctors in Delaware. Talking about
Absolutely.
the scope of practice of some of our professions that may not be working to the full extent of their scope of practice. Making sure that we're leveling up for folks like occupational therapists. That's been a conversation that, their pay is not the same as some of the other disciplines based on how our regulations are written. Grandfathering in folks before we had a DPT program in physical therapy. So there are things that we need to definitely focus on. But healthcare, I would say to you, is going to be one of the leading practices in the state of Delaware. Another thing that we are talking about right now is the workforce when it's related to, there is a data center that is, we're talking about in my district in particular, and we have to figure out how they're going to bring their energy, right?
Is it a big one?
It is, yes, it is a big one. We had this whole town hall meeting a couple of weeks ago. It was probably about 6-8 weeks ago. And that town meeting, it was unfortunate that the company that wants to bring the data center was not more prepared with their answers. So the momentum of people having questions and the insecurities that they felt in the lack of answers was really, really tough. And so one of the questions that came up was, are you going to sign a PLA with the unions? and they couldn't answer that question. So it's taken this amount of time, a lot of conversation, and just recently a PLA was signed, and so we know that it would be definitely a workforce build out, and
Right.
it would be fantastic. However, we have to also make sure that we are not being naive and we are not being ignorant to the fact that we have an energy issue in the state of Delaware. And because of that, we need, if anyone's going to build a data center, you need to come with your own energy. You can't sacrifice the
Existing ones.
exactly.
Right.
Can't sacrifice the people that are living in the surrounding areas.
Absolutely. And of course, we want new business coming in,
Absolutely, yes.
investments. It's going to be helping the communities, but the help on the infrastructure and not taking anything away from what we already have.
Hmm.
And this should be additional stuff, not like sharing what we already have. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. So consumer protection and cost transparency is one of the other things that you do a lot of work with. In today's economy, consumer face many hidden costs and the fees. What consumer protection measures have you helped to pass, and what gaps still remains?
Yeah. So that's a great question. This is great segue into saying how we work with our constituents, right? So there is a gentleman. I'll leave him nameless, but if he watches, he'll know it's him. Um, he's a business owner, and during COVID, he called up and he said, "Oh my God, I can't get out of this contract. This is like so painful." And I've tried calling, and of course, at the time, you couldn't go see people in person, and so we got talking about the evergreen contracts and the way to get out of an evergreen contract. I worked with the AG's office, one of the DAGs, Marion Quirk, who was fantastic, and worked with the constituent, worked with the legislature and the colleagues, and we created an evergreen law that you have to have an easy, accessible way to get out of a contract. And someone can't keep you in it forever because you didn't read the fine line of how to cancel, or you have to come in person to cancel that. So that's an example of, again, hearing your constituents, understanding what the problem is, and then across the board knowing that it's not just going to help my district, but it's going to help everyone's district in a situation like this.
So you have, like, with everything that you have said today, and then what I know already, you have a very close tie to the local community, and you were in healthcare
I
when you
was, yes.
started. So, given your background in business and workforce services, how does the experience inform your approach to public service and policy making?
Yeah. It goes back to, again, hearing, talking to individuals, whether it's a restaurant, which we know our restaurant industry, oh my goodness, is really, really struggling today. And to all of my restaurant owners out there, thank you so much for putting food on the table. Thank you so much for everything that you do for employing so many people. They do a tremendous job. And so if you have the opportunity to go out, whether it's from pizza to a steak, please go out and see our restaurant owners and eat their food, because that industry, so many people work in it. And so, I have people that will call me and say, I'm having difficulty because I might not have filled out the application correctly for the alcohol commissioner, who we have a phenomenal alcohol commissioner, Jackie Mehta. She is fantastic. And so it's easily a call to say, what can I do to help this constituent or this business owner? And her team works beautifully with people to help them. I mean, obviously, you have to follow the regulations, you have to follow the process,
Right.
but her team is so good at helping people to get to that final stage. But it's really about, again, communication, working with different groups, also not being afraid that there could be pushback, right? And that, again, goes back to democracy. Not everybody is going to like your idea. Not everybody is going to want to be a part of your idea.
Right.
And that even goes back to talking about leadership. You have to know how to count, because you need to pass the bills. But you also need to know that you should never count on someone's vote just because they are a part of your party. They have a district to represent, and if that bill could be harmful to their district, they may need to vote against the bill. And so we have to give grace not only to our one another, our colleagues, but we also have to give grace to different areas in the state of Delaware. But again, if you continue to have the conversation, if you don't cut it off, you continue to bring different opinions to the table, you'll get to where you need to be.